You all, and let's get started lying down as always. But as always, you don't have to be lying down. So there's a caveat. You can really be in whatever shape feels comfortable to you. I prefer to start my classes lying down, but if you have another shape that feels better for you, feel free to begin to make your way into that shape now. So let's all just take a nice deep breath. So big inhale in through the nose, let it go. Maybe you do that one more time as you start to settle in. You make some adjustments with your body, kind of moving your hands, moving your feet, adjusting the placement of your legs or your arms until you find that position that feels really comfortable for you. You can let your eyes close if they're not already. And just start to settle into the stillness. For some of us, this might be the first time today where you've just stopped. I know I notice that a lot when I come to my yoga mat, that you're running around, you're working, you're cleaning, you're doing errands, whatever it is you're doing, and then you get on your yoga mat and you lie there and you're like, wow, I haven't been still and quiet all day. So allow yourself to enjoy the stillness, enjoy the quietness for the next hour. If you decide that you don't want to move from this shape, you don't have to, because it's all about what you need and what feels right for you. So take these few moments here to just enjoy that slowing down feeling. Let your breath kind of catch up with you. Maybe you set an intention for yourself. I always encourage an intention that's going to help keep you focused on what you're doing. So we were talking about balance before we started class today. So if you're working on balance, maybe your intention is finding balance. Maybe it's being gentle with yourself and knowing that you're not going to do it all right now, but you can do some of it right now. Maybe it's just breathing. You're going to focus on your breath. Whatever that intention is, let it be something that guides you through your practice. And maybe you hold on to it when you get off your mat. Balance, breathing, these are all things that are important in our regular lives as well, not just on the mat. So go ahead and take about 2 more breaths. 2 really good, full, deep breaths. And then on the 3rd breath, start to find a full body stretch. So if you're not lying down, go ahead and start to lie down. If you are lying down, start to reach the arms over your head, extend the legs long, roll out the wrists, roll out the ankles, wiggle the fingers and the toes. Take a nice deep breath. And then as you exhale, you can start to draw your knees in towards you, wrapping your arms around your shins as you give yourself a little hug. You can rock side to side, back and forth, making circles. The idea is that that spine is pressing down into the mat, so feel the base of the spine all the way up the back, connecting with the earth. Nice little massage for the back of the body. And then we're going to bring our hands behind our thighs, tuck your chin into your chest, and then just gently start to rock along the spine. So almost like that spine is the bottom of a rocking chair, nice and supple, and start to rock your way up. Coming to a cross-legged seated position once you are up on your mat. You can slide a blanket or a pillow under your hips. That will help take some of the pressure off. So if sitting like this doesn't feel comfortable, maybe to your knees or maybe to your hips, I recommend checking out what it feels like to sit onto something. Sit on a little blanket or a pillow or something like that. If this feels fine, then go ahead and sit right on the mat. Bring your hands to your knees. Take a deep breath in as you sit up a little taller. Sometimes I like to rock side to side a little bit, kind of feel my tailbone grounding down. Let the spine lengthen a little bit. Take a deep breath in. And then let's start to roll the upper body, so drawing the chest forward and all the way around. Allowing that spine to start to move in lots of directions. So forward, backwards, side to side, maybe pausing somewhere if you are over to the side and, ooh, that feels really good, I want to stay there. Go ahead and stay there for a couple of breaths. If that moving circular motion feels good, then keep going with that. Going back in the opposite direction if you haven't already. And then slowly starting to come back through center once you're even on both sides, nice and tall seat. Let the chin release forward as you look at the mat in front of you. The whole spine is long, you're leaning the head forward, and then go ahead and start to roll the neck all the way around, starting to take full circles. So we're moving the neck, but we're really focusing on that whole upper part of the body, the shoulders, the upper back, the neck. A really popular area for tension. So see if you can relax a little bit into this, letting some of that go. And then once you've taken a couple circles on both sides, you can start to come back through center, lifting the head back up towards the ceiling. Take a breath in and roll the shoulders forward. As you exhale, release them down the back. So still working on the shoulders, the neck, the upper back. Breathing into that area. So you're breathing in as you lift the shoulders. You're exhaling as you roll them back. And going back in the opposite direction. So lifting the shoulders backwards and up, and then exhaling as you roll them forward. Let's do that one more time. Hold it, pause with the shoulders right towards the ears, creating tightness and tension, all that stuff that we're trying to let go of. Hold on to it for just a moment. And then with a big exhale, let it all go. Relax the shoulders, sit up nice and tall. Go ahead and start to reach the arms up overhead. As you exhale, the left fingertips are going to come to your mat, to the side of you. The right fingertips are going to reach to the left side. So we're stretching through the whole right side of the body. See if you can look under that right arm towards the ceiling, pressing down through the right hip. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way back up. And the exhale takes us over to the other side. Right hand comes down. Left fingertips reach towards the side of the room, the side of your mat. And then on the next inhale, back up through center. This exhale will bring us into a forward fold. So start to walk the hands towards the mat in front of you as you start to fold forward as far as it feels comfortable. So you decide. You're going to keep walking the hands away from the body, keep lowering the chest towards your mat, and eventually that's going to feel good enough. And you're going to stop there, and you're just going to breathe into it. Maybe you close your eyes. Each time you inhale, the spine can lengthen a little bit. And then as you exhale, maybe the chest releases just a little bit closer to the mat. So using that breath to help bring you deeper into the pose. And then let's slowly start to walk the hands back towards the body. As you press the upper body up, we're going to bring the soles of the feet together. Butterfly pose, cobbler pose, Baddha Konasana in Sanskrit. Lots of names for this pose. Your hands are going to interlace under your toes. Take a deep breath in, lengthening through the spine. And then on the exhale, we fold forward, pressing the elbows into the shins, drawing the chest towards the body. And then slowly on the inhale, start to lift it all the way back up. The right leg is going to extend long. That left foot is going to come right into the inner thigh of the right foot, flexing through the right toes. So you're kind of making like an L shape with your legs. On the next inhale, lift the arms up overhead. As you exhale, fold it forward. And you're going to give that leg some love. So that might mean bending the knee a little bit. That might mean massaging the back of the leg, anything that's tight or stiff or sore. Move it a little bit, breathe a little bit. Maybe try breathing in as you lift up and then exhaling as you fold forward. These are all just options. See what feels good for that leg. Movement might be what it needs, or maybe it's just being still and folding and breathing. And then on the next inhale, slowly start to lift the upper body up. We're going to take that left foot to the outside of the right knee. So you're kind of crossing the left leg over the right. Left hand comes to the side of the body. As you inhale, the right fingertips up. As you exhale, twist to the left, poking the right elbow on the outside of the left knee. So we're all twisted up like a pretzel. Take a breath in and see if you can sit up a little taller. As you exhale, twist a little further, looking towards that left shoulder, to the side of the room, or maybe the back of the room. And then slowly we're going to come back through center over to the other side. So the left elbow comes to the left knee, twisting in the opposite direction. And back through center again. You can extend both legs. Kind of tap the backs of your legs on the floor a little bit. Kind of settling in here. Take a deep breath in as you reach the arms overhead. And then exhale, fold it forward over both legs. On the next inhale, slowly lifting it up. Let's take that right foot to the left inner thigh this time. Really flex through those left toes, engaging the back of that left leg. Take that breath in as you reach the arms up, and then as you exhale, fold over the left leg. Same thing as you did on the other side. You can start to bend that knee a little bit. You can start to use your hands to get into any tightness or stiffness or soreness in that leg. Move a little bit, or you can stay still for the next 2 or 3 breaths. And on the next inhale, slowly lifting it up, let's start to find that twist by bringing the right foot to the outside of the left knee. Right hand comes to the side of the right hip. Left arm lifts up on an inhale, and then on an exhale, we're twisting to the right. That left elbow hooks to the outside of the right knee. You can use that connection from the elbow, so you're kind of pressing the elbow into the knee to get a little deeper twist than you would otherwise. Sitting up tall. And then let's come back through center, right elbow to right knee as you twist the other way, just for a breath. And then back through center again. You can extend both legs, shake them out a little bit, and then let's start to make our way into our tabletop position. So flipping over as you make your way onto your hands and your knees. And we'll start to move through a couple rounds of cat and cow. So on the next inhale, the stomach will release down, look up towards the ceiling, getting a nice arch in the back. And then as you exhale, round the back, I like to think of a string kind of pulling my spine up. And then go ahead and continue to move there. Inhale, releases the belly button towards the mat. Exhale, rounds the back, presses the ground away. And always feel free to add on here. Rocking the hips sometimes feels good. Moving the head from side to side a little bit. Take a couple more rounds with your breath. And then starting to make your way back through center once you complete the round that you're on. We're going to extend the right leg long. Keep the toes tucked. So you're pressing that right foot down into the mat. And then you're just going to start to push yourself forwards and backwards. So on those toes, kind of using the toes to give yourself a nice little stretch. The bottom of the foot and the back of the leg. And then as you come back through center, pause for a moment. The right leg is going to lift, point the toes towards the back of the room. As you inhale, draw the right knee towards your nose. Give that knee a little kiss. As you exhale, send it back. We're going to do that 2 more times with your breath. Inhale, draw the knee to the nose. Exhale, send it back. 1 more time, knee to nose around that back. Exhale, send it back. Hold here for a moment so that right foot is parallel to the mat. You're going to take your left foot, slide it off the mat, and then you're going to bring the right foot kind of to the left corner of your mat. And the right fingertips are going to lift. We're coming into a modified side plank. So the left knee is still down. The rest of the body is in a side plank. We're pressing the hips up towards the ceiling and getting as long as you can on the right side of the body. And then start to make circles with that right arm. So really using that shoulder, getting into the full range of mobility with that arm. Taking a couple circles in one direction and back in the other direction. And then we're gonna slowly start to close it off. You can bring the right hand back down to the mat. The right knee can come back down to the mat. Maybe you shake your hips from side to side a little bit or do a little cat and cow before we take it over to the left side. So when you're ready, that left foot is gonna extend, keeping the toes on the mat first as you start to press yourself forwards and backwards, stretching out the bottom of the left foot, the back of the leg. You're kind of using your toes to sort of propel yourself forward and then pressing the heel back. And then go ahead and come into stillness. Left foot lifts, point the toes towards the back of the room so that left leg is parallel to the floor. As you inhale, draw the left knee to your nose, round the back. Exhale, send it back. 2 more times. Inhale, give that knee a kiss. Exhale, send it back. 1 more time, draw the knee forward and send it back. Start to find that side plank. This time the right foot slides off the mat. The left foot comes to the right back corner. The left fingertips reach towards the top. So now we're creating that nice long line on the left side of the body. Looking under the left arm, pressing the hips up. And start to make those circles with the left arm. So those circles can really look however you want them to look. They can be really, really giant if that feels good. A little smaller if that feels better. Side to side, back and forth. Just let that arm move. And then let's start to close it off as you make your way back to your tabletop position. The left hand comes down, the left knee comes down. And we're gonna find our first downward facing dog. So go ahead and tuck the toes, straighten the legs as you send your hips up and back. Start to settle into your downward facing dog and moving however it feels good here. I like to start from the bottom, so I lift my heels up and then start to press them back down. And I like to bend my knees really deeply, almost like I'm bringing my stomach to my knees and then straightening the legs. Rock your hips, shake your head. And then on the next inhale, we're gonna roll forward into a plank position. So drawing the shoulders over the wrist, tucking the tailbone under. Great way to check your alignment. As you exhale, send it back to your downward facing dog. So see if you can flow like that without changing your hands or your feet 2 more times. Inhale, roll it forward to your plank. Exhale, back to downward facing dog. 1 more time, just like that. Inhale, roll it forward. Exhale, send it back. And I'm kidding because we're gonna do that 1 more time. So I tricked you. 1 more time, roll it forward. This time, let's add on. So from your plank position, let's bring the knees down to the mat. And you're gonna start to lower yourself all the way down onto your stomach. It's kind of like a little reverse push-up as you lower yourself down. Hands come to the mat. We're gonna lift ourselves up into a baby cobra. So just high enough that your fingertips are off the mat. So you're kind of pressing the shoulder blades together, lifting up through the upper body. And then go ahead and bring your hands back to the mat. We're gonna press it back to a child's pose. So you can use your hands to lift the hips up and back as you come into your child's pose. So your hands can stay reaching towards the top of your mat, or they can kind of stack on top of each other, resting your forehead on your hands, or your hands can come to the sides of the body, so whatever feels comfortable for you. I'm going to take another breath here. And then you're going to slowly start to walk your hands back towards the top of the mat if they weren't there already. And let's move through that little flow 1 more time. So tucking the toes, make your way back to your downward facing dog. On the next inhale, roll it into your plank position. Bring the knees down as you lower, so that reverse push-up all the way onto your mat. This time, your choice. If you liked that baby cobra, do that again. If you want to press your hands into the mat and lift the upper body up a little bit more, go for it. Just be mindful of the spine. If that doesn't feel good on the spine, you want to take it down a little bit. And then let's all lower ourselves back down onto the mat. Again, find your child's pose. Press your hands into the mat, hips come to heels, toes together, knees are apart. Settle in here, another 3 breaths. And coming back to that breath, coming back to that intention that you set. Starting to walk your hands back towards the top of the mat if they're not there already. Tucking the toes back to your downward facing dog as you straighten the legs, send the hips up and back. This time you're gonna look towards your hands. So usually we're looking at our thighs. Turn your gaze towards your hands and then start to walk your feet towards the top of the mat, coming to a forward fold. You take a bunch of little steps. Your feet can be about hips width distance apart, and then take any forward fold that you like. Maybe that's holding onto opposite elbows, holding onto the back of your head, bending your knees, moving, not moving. See what feels good. And then let's start to take it all the way up to standing. So one vertebrae at a time. Start to peel the spine all the way up. You can reach your arms overhead. Once you get there, start to walk the feet back together. Maybe a little back bend. As you interlace your hands, you're gonna flip the palms so that your palms are pressing up towards the ceiling. Relax the shoulders and then take it over to the left side. So pressing your hips to the right. We're lengthening the whole right side of the body. Imagine you're trying to make almost like a C shape with your body. And then on the next inhale, lift it all the way back up. And exhale it over to the other side. Press the hips to the left. Get really long on the left as you press your hands towards the right. And then on the next inhale, back up through center. As you exhale, we're gonna big swan dive forward so the hands come down to the mat. Take a breath in, bring your hands to your shins. So flat back here, kind of like an L shape. As you exhale, fold, forward fold. As you inhale, lift it back up, reach the arms overhead. And as you exhale, bring your hands to heart center. Good, we're gonna start to add on. We're gonna do a variation of a sun salutation. I think Megan does those in her class sometimes. We're gonna do a modified sun salutation. On the next inhale, you're gonna lift your arms up. As you exhale, dive it down, bringing your hands to the mat. We're gonna step the left foot back to a lunge position. So the left foot stepping back, and then the right foot steps back to your downward facing dog. Take a breath here. We're gonna bring our knees down to the mat. Just like we did before, lower yourself all the way down to the mat. And then inhale up to any variation of the cobra you liked. It can be that high cobra, it can be that baby cobra, maybe it's somewhere in the middle where your elbows are kind of bent. And then we're going to exhale back to our downward facing dog. So from here, you're gonna start to make your way back to that downward facing dog, straightening the legs. You're gonna look towards the top of the mat, and you're gonna step that left foot forward, and then you're gonna step that right foot forward into a forward fold, and then you're gonna inhale and lift it all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. So we just did that on one side, we did the right side, so now we're gonna do the left. On the next inhale, the arms lift up. As you exhale, forward fold. This time the right foot steps back first, so finding that lunge on the left side. And then the left foot steps back to your downward facing dog. That's tricky. I know it's kind of fast, so be patient with yourself. We're gonna lower down onto our knees. Lower the stomach all the way down onto the mat, that little reverse push-up. And then start to lift it up, opening up through the front of the body. If this starts to feel like a lot after a while, maybe you take it down a little bit. It's more important to create space and opening than just get up as high as you can. If you're compressing your back, you're gonna hurt it. So stay lower and see if you can get a little longer. And then as we exhale back to our downward facing dog, tuck the toes, straighten the legs, downward facing dog. Take your gaze to your hands. We're gonna step that right foot forward, left foot forward. Now we're in our forward fold. Inhale, lift it all the way up. Exhale, hands to heart center. We're gonna add on from there just a little bit more. On the next inhale, go ahead and lift the arms up. As you exhale, fold it forward. Same thing as we did before, that right foot is gonna step back, so finding a low lunge. This time the right knee is also going to come down onto the mat. Untuck those toes. And then let's start to take our little flow here. As you exhale, press the hips back, folding over that left leg. And then go ahead and press the hips forward. So you're going to just move here a couple times forwards and backwards, stretching out that hip. Maybe even using your hand to kind of massage the back of that leg again. Next time we come forward, let's start to make our way into our Anjaneyasana, pressing the hips down. You can bring your hands to your knees as you lift the upper body up. You can bring your hands up towards the ceiling, or you can keep your hands down on the mat. So see what feels most comfortable for you. I did the left side first. I don't usually do the left side first. So if you did the right side first, which is what we usually do, make sure you switch on the other side. Go ahead and bring your hands back to frame out the mat. Frame out your foot, the left foot or the right foot, whichever one you have forward. We're going to tuck the back toes, straighten that back leg. The left foot is going to step back to our downward facing dog. We're going to move through that little flow again. So go ahead and bring the knees down to the mat. Lower all the way down onto your stomach. And then press it up just as much as you like. Maybe that baby cobra. Maybe you take a break and don't press it up at all. Up to you. And then let's make our way back to our downward facing dog. So the toes tuck, the legs straighten, hips move up towards the ceiling. As you take your gaze to the top of the mat, left foot steps forward, and the right foot steps forward to a forward fold. Inhale, lifts it all the way up, and exhale, hands to heart center. Good. So let's do that same thing on the other side. So like I said, I did the left side first, so if you're going with me, we'll do the right side now. If you did the right side, make sure you do the other side. On the next inhale, the arms lift up. As you exhale, fold forward. We're going to step that left foot back, so we're in our right side low lunge. And then that left knee comes down, untuck the toes, and start to press it forwards and backwards. So as you exhale, you press the hips back, straighten that right leg, fold over that right leg. As you inhale, press the hips down, start to lift up. We know I've said it before, but blocks, books, something to rest your hands on can really help here. If the ground feels a little bit far away, it can help you get a deeper stretch. Props are not cheating. I hear people say that sometimes. Props help you get into the pose deeper than you could on your own. The next time we come forward, let's come into our crescent lunge, our Anjaneyasana. So hips pressing down, hands can come to that front knee, or hands reach up towards the ceiling. Wherever you are, think about opening up through the front of the body, lengthening through the spine, and then look up towards your hands, smile. And then slowly hands start to frame out that front foot. We're going to tuck the back toes, straighten the back leg as you step that front foot back to your downward facing dog. One last time, we're going to take that little flow, then we'll take a break from this. So the knees are going to come down, lower your chest, your chin, all the way down onto the mat. Press it up to that cobra. And then back to your downward facing dog. The toes tuck, the legs straighten. Looking forward, step that right foot forward. Step that left foot forward. Inhale as you lift it all the way up. And exhale, hands to heart center. Good. That's tricky. It's tiring and it's a lot. So be gentle with yourself. Take a sip of water if you need. Shake it out a little bit if you need. Good. So once you're ready, start to find a nice firm foundation on your mat. We're going to do some balancing. So if you'd like to move it over to the wall for your balancing, that is an option as well. We're going to do a tree pose today. So you're going to find a really nice firm foundation with the left foot. So what that means is kind of fanning out the toes a little bit. Make sure you're nice and stable. Sometimes that might mean stepping off your mat. The The squishiness of the mat can sometimes make balancing a little more tricky. So nice foundation with the left foot. The right foot's gonna come starting at the inner ankle, so the top of the right toes can still be on the mat. Your hands can come to heart center. You are now balancing. I'm wobbling as I say it. If this feels good enough, stay here. If you want to start to bring that leg up more, that foot can come to the inner shin. It can come to the inner thigh. You can kind of use your hand to bring it up a little bit. And then you can also decide what you're doing with your hands. They can stay right there at heart center. If you really press them into each other, you're kind of giving that resistance can kind of give you a little extra balance. Or you can take that overhead, maybe you open it up a little bit. If all of this feels challenging, come to a wall on your left side. So you can either be leaning against the wall with your left shoulder or just close enough that you can touch it should you need it. So when you're ready, slowly start to bring your hands back to heart center if they weren't there already. That right foot is gonna slowly start to slide back down onto the mat. You kind of shake out your standing leg. Maybe you take a little forward fold. Sometimes that feels good on the back. Shake it out, and then we'll start to do the same thing on the other side, beginning with that nice firm foundation with the right foot. Hands come to heart center as the left toes come to the mat, coming to the inner ankle of the right foot. If you're staying here, go ahead and find the variation you like with your hands. If you're lifting that leg a little bit, go ahead and bring it either below or above the knee. You can also use a chair. I just thought of it when I grabbed this ledge. If you have a chair nearby, sometimes that can help just to bring your hand to the back of the chair a little bit. So try to take about 3 more breaths here. Balancing poses are one of the ones that we're notorious for holding our breath. We get into the pose and we don't want to move at all because we might come out of it. So try to breathe, nice big breaths. And if it makes you a little wobbly, that's okay. And then when you're ready, slowly start to bring the hands back to heart center. Let that left leg start to slide back down onto the mat. And again, shake it all out, let it all go. Maybe a little forward fold if that felt good on the other side. And then coming back to the top of your mat. We're gonna make our way into a warrior one. So our left foot is gonna step to the back of the mat. Left foot is at a 45-degree angle. That right foot is facing the top of your mat. Take a breath in as you reach the arms overhead. As you exhale, bend into that right knee. So you might find that you need to slide the back foot a little further back because that knee should be right on top of the ankle of the right leg. You don't want that knee going over the ankle. Press that left hip forward so that your hips are squared off. They're kind of, if you were against a wall, both hips would be pressing against the wall. That right hip probably wants to be in the front. Let's see if you can get them in a line. Bending into that right leg just a little bit more. And then we're gonna go ahead and straighten that right leg. And you can take one giant step or a couple little steps and bring that left foot back to the top of the mat and just let it go. So however it feels good, getting yourself back to the top of the mat. And we'll switch it over to the other side. So the right foot is gonna step all the way back. 45-degree angle from the back of the mat. That's what I'm talking about with the angle. Take a breath in as you lift your arms up. As you exhale, bend into that left knee. Same thing as you did on the other side. Maybe you slide that back leg back a little bit further. Find that nice alignment with the knee over the ankle. We're aiming for a 90-degree ankle with that knee. So think about that. Pressing down through the outer edge of that back foot. And again, breathing. Challenging poses are another one where we hold our breath just because we're tired. So let that breath help you. It's counterproductive. If you're tired, you need more breath, more oxygen. And then go ahead and straighten that left leg. And again, you can step yourself back to the top of the mat, however it feels good. Bunch of little steps, one giant step, doesn't matter. Shake it out. Find your way back to the top of the mat. And then on the next inhale, let's lift our arms up, maybe a little back bend if it feels good. As you exhale, let's fold it forward. We're gonna take that little flow again. So the left foot is gonna step back. finding that lunge position. The left hand is going to stay on the mat. As you exhale, the right arm is going to start to lift up. So taking your gaze towards that right hand, press the right shoulder open, looking up towards the right fingertips. And then slowly bringing that right hand back down to the mat. So we're in that lunge position again. And we're going to step up the left foot halfway. So the left foot is coming to the center of your mat, kind of. This is called pyramid pose or Parsvottanasana in Sanskrit. So your legs are straight or fairly straight. That right knee might be bent a little bit. Your hips are working on being in a line again. So that left hip is coming forward, the right hip is going back as you fold over that right leg. Maybe grabbing those blocks or books or really anything. It can even be a chair. If the ground feels, I keep thinking about chairs today. If the ground feels really far away, you can have your hands on a chair. You don't have to be leaning this far forward if that feels really uncomfortable. We're all gonna step the left foot up to meet the right. Take a little halfway lift. As you exhale, you can fold a little deeper. And then on the next inhale, let's lift it all the way back up. And exhale, your hands to heart center. Inhale, the arms come back up overhead. Exhale, dives it down, forward fold. This time we'll step the right foot back to that runner's lunge. Right hand is going to stay down. Left arm lifts up. So think about making one straight line from your left fingertips to your right fingertips. Press that left shoulder open as you look towards the fingers. And then bringing that left hand back down to the mat. Let's find our pyramid pose, our Parsvottanasana. Right foot steps to the center of the mat. So your feet are probably 2 or 3 feet apart. Your heels are down, so you want that foot close enough to you that the heels can be down. Take a breath as you lengthen through the back of the body. As you exhale, fold. Again, hands coming to blocks, blankets, chairs, whatever helps you fold into this pose. And whatever allows you to feel something. Sometimes we're struggling so much to get into the pose that we're not able to open up and stretch into it. So that's when those modifications and those props can really help. They can allow us to come a little deeper than we could otherwise. We're all going to step the right foot up to meet the left. Bring your hands to your shins as you find a halfway lift, flat back. Exhale, folds us forward. And then on the next inhale, we'll lift it all the way back up. And exhale, hands come to heart center. Let's bring our feet maybe about mat's width distance, so a little wider than your hips. Take a breath in as you lift your arms up. As you exhale, fold it forward. We're going to take our left fingertips, put them in front of your left toes, put a little bend in your left knee, and then you're going to lift the right arm up, looking towards the right fingertips. So we're getting a little twist here. Another opportunity to have your hand on a block or a book. I could put mine on my cat right now. And then slowly bringing that right hand down to the mat. Put your right fingers in front of your right toes, a little bend in the right knee. And then as you inhale, the left arm lifts up. So twisting in the opposite direction now. Roll that left shoulder open. Take your gaze towards the left fingertips. And then go ahead and bring the left hand back down to the mat and kind of shake it out a little bit. Rock your hips from side to side. You can start to walk your feet closer together. It's kind of like heel toe the feet in so your feet aren't so far apart. And then we're gonna step it back to our downward facing dog. So maybe one giant step, maybe a bunch of little steps as you work your feet back to the back of your mat. We're gonna start to come into our pigeon pose. So I always like to give you guys options here. If you like to come into your pigeon from your knees, you can come down onto your knees first. If you want to do it from your down dog, that's fine as well. Either way, you're going to start to draw the right knee towards the right wrist. So you're bringing that right knee in front of you. That left leg is gonna start to extend behind you. Take your time as you settle yourself in here. So you want both hips kind of squared off on the mat. If you feel like you're leaning a lot to the right side, start to bring that left foot a little closer to the body. Shift the right foot closer to the body so that you can shift the weight to the left side. Take your breath in as you open up through the front of the body. And then on the exhale, start to lower it down, folding forward, finding something to rest your head on. Maybe you're stacking your fists or a block, whatever it is, so that you can relax through the shoulders and the neck. You're not tensing those muscles to hold yourself up. You can completely release and let go. We're going to hold this for about 5 breaths. And then slowly starting to walk the hands back towards the body as you press the upper body up. You're going to make your way back either to your downward facing dog or your tabletop position, whichever one you're starting from. So go ahead and make your way back now, down dog or tabletop. And then you'll start to come over to your pigeon on the other side. So that left knee is going to start to slide behind the left wrist. The right leg is going to start to extend. We're compressing the top of the right foot into the mat. Sometimes I like to move a little bit. I like to rock my hips from side to side, kind of move my upper body up and down a little bit, sort of just easing yourself in. And then eventually you can go ahead and start to lower down. Same thing as you did on the other side. Finding something to support the head. Take a deep breath. Softening through the shoulders. And then slowly starting to walk the hands back towards the body as you press the upper body up, making your way either back to your tabletop position or your downward facing dog. Does not matter, because in a moment we're all going to come to a seated position. So however you come out of that pigeon pose, it's fine. Start to make your way all the way down into a seated position with your legs extended out in front of you. Kind of rocking from side to side as you settle in here. Notice how this feels compared to when we were in the shape at the beginning of class. Hopefully the backs of your legs are feeling a little more open, a little more loose. Let's do another forward fold just to compare. So on the next inhale, you can lift the arms up. As you exhale, you can start to fold forward. Maybe you're still putting a bend in the knees. That's fine. Just notice how it feels. Your hands can rest on your shins, on your toes, on the mat. And then slowly on the next inhale, go ahead and start to lift yourself all the way back up. Slide so that your feet are right at the top of your mat if they're not there already. And then one vertebrae at a time, you're going to start to lower yourself all the way down, taking a nice big full body stretch. Once you get there, arms reach overhead. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, let it go. Start to bring the feet to the side of your body, the hands to the side of your body, the feet to the base of your tailbone as we set up for our bridge pose. So on the next inhale, you're going to start to lift the hips up, pressing the hands into the mat. You can either keep pressing your hands into the mat or you can interlace your hands under your tailbone. If you have the hands under the tailbone, you can kind of wiggle your shoulders under your body a little bit more. And we're going to do this twice. So slowly starting to peel the spine back down onto the mat. You kind of rock your hips from side to side a little bit, and then we're going to do that one more time. So when you're ready, on the next inhale, start to make your way back into your back bend, your bridge pose. Hips press up, hands can either press into the mat, or they can interlace under the tailbone again. And then slowly, one vertebrae at a time, the spine starts to peel back onto the mat. You could let the hips rock from side to side. And then let's start to draw our knees in towards us, wrapping your arms around your shins as you give yourself a little hug, making that nice little circle shape that we started in. And then from here, we're going to come into our inversion. So I always am a big advocate for legs up the wall. So if you have a wall near you and you want to give it a try, go ahead and slide so that your hips are right up against the wall, and then you can extend your feet, or the backs of your legs right up against the wall. If you don't have a wall or you want something a little more active, you can do this right in the middle of the room. If you're doing it without the wall, either bring your hands to the backs of your thighs to kind of support them, or under your tailbone. Either way will kind of make it a little more enjoyable. We're going to hold this for about 5, more like 10 breaths. So you want to really let the breath slow down a little bit. You can close the eyes. If you have the legs up the wall and you want to stay there for a couple more minutes, go ahead. It feels good, and it's a little easier to do that for a while. If you have them up in the air, probably getting a little tired, so you can go ahead and start to draw the knees back in towards you. One last time, wrapping the arms around the legs, maybe lifting your head up towards your knees, and then slowly placing the head back down onto the mat. We're going to extend our legs long, coming into a fish pose by pressing the forearms into the mat on either side of you, lifting up through the chest, through the heart. You can either look forward towards your feet, or you can start to let the head release back if that feels comfortable. If that doesn't feel comfortable on your neck, you don't want to do that. And then slowly starting to lower the body all the way back down on towards the mat. We're going to draw the knees in towards us, extend your arms out to either side as you let the knees release over to the right side. So coming into a twist, the knees release to the right. You can start looking up towards the ceiling, or maybe you take your gaze to the left in the opposite direction of the knees. You can also cross the top leg or the bottom leg over the other one. Sometimes that feels good. It gives you a little deeper stretch. If that doesn't feel good, then don't do it. You can close your eyes and just start to settle in here. And then slowly starting to draw the knees back through center. Let's take it over to the other side. Nice little twist to the left as the knees release down towards the mat. Your gaze can go to the right. You can even bring a hand to the top of that right leg, maybe a little massage for that right thigh. And then slowly starting to draw the knees back towards center. Find a Supta Baddha Konasana or reclined butterfly by bringing the soles of the feet together, letting the knees start to release out to either side. Your hands can come to your inner thighs or your stomach. As you just start to let gravity help you relax. So just completely letting go, surrendering, becoming heavy as you start to melt into your mat. Letting go of any tension, anything that you're holding on to. Feel the back of the head softly resting on the earth, the shoulders softening away from the ears, the knees releasing down. And then from here, it's up to you. If this feels good and you are not about to move anymore, then you can stay here for the rest of your practice. If there's another pose that you want to end in, then you can start to make your way into that position now. Maybe that means extending the legs long. Maybe that means sitting up. Maybe it just means you need another stretch before you're ready. So you might have another little twist or something that's going to help you feel comfortable. Sip of water, blanket. You guys know the drill by now. Get whatever it is that you need to feel really comfortable in your Shavasana. And then start to make your way into that Shavasana. So the eyes aren't closed yet. Go ahead and close them. Let's all take a nice big cleansing breath together. Big inhale into the nose. Exhale as you let it go. As you just start to settle into this final pose of your practice this evening. Take a few moments to just again, enjoy the stillness, that same stillness that we observed at the beginning of class. Go ahead and come back to that stillness now. Slowly beginning to deepen your breath. Just gently starting to move your fingers and your toes. Begin to wake yourself up, stretching however it feels good. Depending on where you are, that might mean bending or straightening your knees, reaching your arms overhead. If it feels comfortable, start to make your way onto your side, coming into a fetal position with the knees bent, resting your head on your arm. If that doesn't feel comfortable, just stay right where you are. Wherever you are in these last few moments, just say thank you to yourself for continuing to make the commitment to come to your mat, to do something that's so good for you. Taking the time out of your day just for you. Give yourself a little thank you. And then when you're ready, you can start to make your way back up to a seated position, gently pressing yourself up with your hands. You can keep the eyes closed as you start to bring your hands to heart center. I am so grateful for you all for continuing to join me, bringing your light and your energy with you and sharing it with all of us. Hope you have the most beautiful Thursday night. Great week ahead. Until I see you all again. Namaste. You guys have a wonderful night, everyone.